guys, it's Carlos, the Ultimate Fitness Training once again, and thank you so much for watching the video. And today we're doing a video about gluten. So what do I think about gluten? So I'm going to give you a few topics and also a few reasons why gluten is so bad for us. Now, gluten is based on two proteins, which is gluten and glutenin. So they sound quite similar. And what it is, those two proteins actually glue the actual food together. Now that food itself, that causes bloatiness, that causes allergies, that causes sometimes several stomach problems to a lot of human beings. That is one of the signs that people tend to find that they become gluten intolerant. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you about gluten is people are going to be crazy about gluten intolerance now as well, because a lot of us are gluten intolerant, but at the same time, some of us aren't. Okay, so we've got to be careful who are gluten intolerant and the people that are not gluten intolerant, because there is a lot of foods in the market of which 0% gluten free. However, they've been putting a lot of processed food in order there to make it not gluten free. So obviously watch out, because a lot of them got also a lot of sugars. This may seem a bit confusing. However, make sure that one, you're not gluten intolerant. So let's say if you're not bloated after you've eaten, okay, if you pass a lot of wind, if you pass a lot of gas, if you burp a lot, if you feel really tired after eating, which is quite often a lot of people when you eat feel really sort of tired. Obviously that's a natural biorhythm from the body to feel that way. However, if you suffer from chronic fatigue, for instance, eczema, a lot of those like skin disorders, that's a sign that you may be gluten intolerant. Now, the biggest advice I'm going to say to you guys in order to obviously check and overcome this is, the main thing is obviously do a blood test. Obviously go to your doctors and do that. Try to find foods that are a lot less processed. What I mean by that is, make sure you do your own work and basically start purchasing foods that are basically organic, foods that are on the biggest range of nutrition value. For instance, if you like fruits, for instance, are very strong in fiber. Obviously vegetables, which are very clean, so obviously a lot of alkalinity. Okay, so those foods will be obviously very good for you. Now, the other thing about gluten as well, of which is really bad for us, is gluten, as the name goes, if you glue, it actually glues our intestine together. So hence the reason why a lot of the times when you consume a lot of food that has a lot of gluten, you'll find yourself feeling really drowsy and really full, and then you'll start passing on a lot of wind and you feel a lot bloated, and this causes a lot of different other sort of conditions. Now, one of the biggest things I'm going to say to you guys as well about gluten is, you know, until you actually find your intestine being intolerant to this, you may not even probably think, oh, I just passed wind, or I just feel a bit sick, or I've got a few skin rashes, or I've got whatever conditions you think you have. You may find that it just happens, but a lot of it is to do with being gluten intolerant. But don't get also overwhelmed with it as well. A lot of people can obviously become a little sort of too worried about it. So the biggest advice I'll give you is to go to your doctors. Do obviously a food intolerance test. It's quite easy to do now, and obviously then you'll start understanding really whether you're actually really gluten intolerant, or you just basically certain foods intolerant. And this may lead into another video I'm going to do very shortly, which is about people being intolerant to certain foods, of which then you start understanding really what your actual body's telling you. Because a lot of conditions that we actually find ourselves having, a lot of it is to do of our bodies being sort of allergic, if you like, of certain substances that are inside these particular foods. Because if you find now, if you go and buy some bread, for instance, in nowadays, you don't just have dough there. You've got loads of different if you like, drugs inside this particular bread. So you've got like percentages of salt, percentages of protein, percentages of carbohydrates, percentages of fats, of which then cause you to become quite poorly. So the biggest advice and the biggest information I can give you on that particular video for this particular thing is to really focus on make sure you go to the doctor, get a food intolerance test, and then you'll be able to see whether you are gluten intolerant or not. So with all that said, guys, make sure you check my Instagram, which is Carlos Trainer, on Instagram, and also on YouTube, which is Carlos Trainer. So with all that said, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay fit. Have a great day. Take care.